Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer board game review, and today's game up on the tabletop is Classified Information by IncrediQuest Games. This is a two-player board game that takes about 15 minutes to play and is for ages 14 and up. And in the game Classified Information, well, you are trying to find out some classified information. You and your opponent each have a unique briefcase with a unique set of numbers, and your objective? To figure out what numbers are on your opponent's briefcase. And then when you do, you'll have to have that last card in your hand at the end of the game be the card that relays one of those three numbers. If they have a 5, 6, 7, you need a 5, a 6, or a 7 in your hand at the end of the game in order to breach their case and win. However, they have guards, and guards can block your numbers. They can also play cards throughout the game to figure out what your suitcase numbers are. And so constantly there's this back and forth tug of war where you're trying to give as little information about your suitcase and get as much as you can about theirs. End of the game, have the card you need to win the game and classify yourself a win in the game Classified Information. We'll talk about the game, talk about the setup, talk about how to play, and of course, my review. Classified Information is an 18 card game. It's one of those small card games that they have a lot of contests and stuff for. This is the Kickstarter Deluxe version of the game, and you'll notice that there's more than 18 cards here. But it's kind of a trick. Actually, there are different sets of classified information. Sets 1, 2, 3, the Kickstarter set, and some Kickstarter specific cards. Which means that you can play classified information with just this stack here. That's all you need to play the game. You don't need anything else you see here, just one of these sets will let you play classified information. And I actually have set 1 here. The Kickstarter version also gives you a nice little secret kind of hidden screen here, but in the actual base game, you actually get these little case information cards that you can write on with dry erase. But we'll talk about how to set the game up if you have the fancy version and the differences between that and the regular. Basically, take one of the sets, then shuffle all the cards. Then take 2 cards secretly and place them face down as the cases. If you have the case sleeve, you can stick it in there so that you can see the number on the top left and of course the suitcase number. 1 to each player, and you don't want to know what your opponent's is, but you want to know what yours is. The rest of the cards will form the deck. It should also be shuffled, and then you're going to go ahead and take 2 cards for the base game, the regular mode of the game, and you'll discard them to the exile pile. Then give each player 2 cards for their hand. Each player should also get this little screen here, or card if you're not playing with the deluxe version, and a dry erase marker. And then from there you're ready to go. You have your 2 cards in hand, your 2 exiled cards, your deck of remaining cards, as well as your 2 cases, and hopefully you're able to guess their opponent's case. But there's nothing else to it. Now, the additional setup that you can do is you can mix and match cards from different sets. As long as you switch the same numbers out, like for instance this 5, 6, 7 card, there's 2 of them in the deck, you can take those out and you can replace them with different 5, 6, 7 cards. Or you can play with a different set entirely, or mix and match other sets. There's also additional modes of gameplay where you can add things like these suitcases where you can play best 3 out of 5, etc., etc. So there's a lot of Kickstarter Deluxeified extra things in the game, but for the most part, this is always going to be the setup, is exactly as I explained. So, how to play. The player who is last able to crack a safe or unlock a door is who's going to start. I mean, you could just choose randomly, it's really up to you. But the way you play the game is nice. Actually, on these little classified information sets, it'll tell you the game turn and how you go ahead and go through it. The first thing you'll do on your turn is draw a card from the draw pile. So that means you're going to have 3 cards in hand. Then from there you'll play a card, but there's 3 ways to play cards. The first way, you can choose to deploy a card. Basically, on the cards there will be text, and if you deploy the card, you're basically playing the card for its text value. This card says that your opponent reveals their hand. Choose one of the number of cards revealed. Your opponent tells you if the chosen card number is the same as their suitcase number. So if they reveal a 2, 3, 4 card, you can ask them if the 3 is in their case number, and they have to say yes or no. There are a variety of cards that basically are going to give you information about the discard pile, the deck itself, your opponent's hand, etc., etc. And you play cards to gain that information. The next thing you can choose to do instead of that is you can choose to encrypt. Encrypting is just a fancy way of saying exile a card from your hand. Basically, you'll take a card you don't want your opponent to ever see and hide it in the encrypted area. It starts with 2, so there's always going to be at least 2 cards you don't know about throughout the entire 18 card set, but you could go ahead and exile cards from your hand to give that extra little edge that your opponent won't know about, the information you will. The last thing you can choose to do is you can play an enlist card. All cards can be played with either of the 3 ways, but when you enlist, there's a unique little aspect to them. In the top left-hand corner of your cards will be a symbol. If it is a shield, it is going to be a guard. If it is a red sword, it'll be an assassin. And if it looks kind of like a shield and a sword and it's blue, that is actually called a sentinel. And basically, if you want to play your card, and it is a guard, you will take the card and you will place it face down right on top or in front of your briefcase. This is a card that will guard your suitcase from its number, which is on the top left-hand side, if your opponent tries to attack you at the end of the game with that number. If they're left with a 5, they know your suitcase has a 5, and you have a guard that's a 5, that will protect you from losing the game. And that's why you'll want to play guards. The next thing you can choose to do instead of that is if, let's say, your opponent had a guard, you could choose to use an assassin. And you can basically place this card next to the guard, and your opponent will look at the cards and see if the code number on the bottom of your assassin has one number that was similar to their guard's number. And in this case, I have a 1, 2, 3 for my assassin. Their guard is a 2, 3, 4, which means that it shares 2s and 3s. Thusly, their assassin will go to the discard, or their guard will go to the discard pile, and my assassin will as well, freeing them up from their handy guard so that I can penetrate their defenses easier. And the last thing is the sentinel. The sentinel basically counts as either a guard or an assassin, and you can play them in either which way that you'd like, either placing it face down to defend your suitcase or to attack an opponent's guard in order to remove it from the field, so at the end of the game you have a way of penetrating your opponent's defenses. And that's it. Play a card for the text, play a card in the exile, or play a card as basically a defense card or attack your opponent's defense card. And you'll go back and forth, draw, play, draw, play. And what will eventually happen is this deck is going to empty. And what's going to be left is each player is going to have 2 cards. So after the last card is drawn, I get 3 cards. I'll play this card. And now 2 cards are left. My opponent will get to play a card, and then I will play a card, and there should be 1 card left in both of our hands. This is going to trigger the end game. And how this end game works is you will reveal everybody's suitcase and their numbers, any guards that are face down, as well as the card in each player's hand. My attack card is in the top left-hand corner. That's the number I'm attacking my opponent's case with. And theirs is their top left attacking my case. Now I have a 5, 6, 7 as my case, and they chose a 1 card. Well, 1 doesn't match 5, 6, or 7, so they instantly can't win the game. But my 8, however, hits their 8. They have a 6, 7, 8, which means that I penetrate their defenses and I win the game. Unless, of course, like I said, they have a guard. If they have a guard that has an 8, and I attack with an 8, the guard will block my attack and protect them. In that case, the game is a tie. Unless somebody has more guards at the end of the game, in which case that breaks ties. But if you cannot break through your opponent's defense and you share the same number of guards, the game ends up in a tie and you play again. If you're playing with the fancy briefcase mode, you'll simply play up until somebody gets 3 briefcases out of the 5. Want to switch the game up at the end? Go ahead and take out sets of cards and replace them with other sets of cards, or replace the entire set with a new set. You can do that if you'd like. Add in any of the fancy different sleeves if you'd like for the suitcases and whatnot. It's really up to you how you want to play this game as far as mixing and matching things, but that's the basic idea of the game. It's an 18 card game where you're drawing a card and you're playing a card, trying to have that last card in your hand be the card that penetrates your opponent's defenses and they don't have the guard to block you. Yep, it's a simple game actually. Okay, so let's talk about the game. Well, classified information is basically kind of like a clue-like deduction game where you're trying to figure out, instead of who done it with what and where, it's which 3 numbers in a sequence is hidden in your opponent's case. And also, in order to make your accusation, you'll need to have that last card in your hand be at least one of the numbers that shares a number type with your opponent's briefcase number. And, of course, make sure they don't have a guard that can defend them from the number you're attacking with. If it's a 5, 6, 7, and you have a 5, and they're defending with a 6 and a 7 as guards, you get through their defenses, so learning what they have or defeating their guards can be an important method to the strategy. Defending against yourself is important as well, giving them less information. Whenever a card is played, cards are splayed in the graveyard, it's known information. The only way you don't give known information is holding a card in your hand or playing a card into your exile zone, your gone forever zone, right? And it's a way of protecting information in the game, because this is an 18 card game, and there are 9 combinations, starting with 1, 2, 3, going to 2, 3, 4, and 3, 4, 5, and 4, 5, 6, all the way around until 9, 1, 2, and then it simply repeats the cycle. And each of the hidden boards here have a note section, and then have a pie that not only tells you what type of cards are in the deck, and of course knowing that there's 2 of each, but you'll be able to deduce cards are gone as you start marking them off when you see them, or as you secretly exile them yourself. Giving your opponent as little information as possible is important in keeping you alive, but it's also important that you're able to figure out what your opponent's briefcase is. Using cards as actions is very powerful, but it's also going to give your opponents information as much as you gain information. Playing cards down as guards kind of hides your information until they attack it or at the end of the game, so it's another good way of hiding cards. And so there's this constant push and pull back and forth game that you're playing. It's a light card game. It reminds me a lot of the button shy type 18 card games. This actually wouldn't have surprised me if it just came in this little case here and said button shy because of the style and nature of the game. But what makes this one a little different than most is that this has a boatload of additional sets. There's mix and matching, playing different sets, the fact that they have sleeves and extra content that allows you to kind of change things up, but also allowing you to play on the go as well. You want to play classified information on the go, take one of these sets and you go ahead and go to grandma's house and you can play it with your cousins. Or maybe you want to stay at home and you're having a game night. Now you can play with you and your wife or you and your best friend or whoever it is. A 2-player game of cat and mouse where you make it this long 3 out of 5 game. Yeah, the game lasts only 10 to 15 minutes per time you play, but when you mix and match these things up and change them up and play multiple games, you'll see the amount of variability and different choices you can make in the game. And the fact that you can actually make not only 3 different choices, but each choice has kind of varied aspects to them depending on the game that you're playing and how you want to gain information. There's going to be a lot of replayability. This is probably one of the most replayable 18 card games I have ever played. It's also probably my favorite one I've played so far from any of the 18 card games I have reviewed. And that's saying a lot because I've reviewed at least 30 or 40 of them now. It's really, really, really fun. We did a live stream with the girls, Callie and Rachel, playing this game, and they both thoroughly enjoyed it, learning the game as they moved along and kind of learning their strategy after the first game, because the first time you play this, you're going to have a hard time figuring out what it is you want to do, what cards you want to hide, what cards you want to play, why you even want to exile a card. It doesn't give you an action when you do that, but how important it is to keep information away from your opponent. The artwork for the game is excellent. Artwork, graphic design, quality, it's all here. For an 18 card game, they went above and beyond. 9 out of 10 in my opinion for just how much there is. That being said, for those of you who love 18 card games, you might kind of be like, what's the point of all this? Maybe it's just too much. But I would say to you, like, well, look, you don't have to play with all this if you don't want. You don't have to mix and match things. You can just simply take a set out and play with one of them, and you're going to be good to go. So those people who would be on the fence about, like, why all this extra fuddy-duddy, it's like, look, you don't have to. It's an option. And the fact that they give that option is nice for gamers like me who like to change it up even more so. But it still remains the same game no matter what set you put together or the changes in the cards. There's a variety of different things in this game that give it so much replayability, and the quality, it's just fantastic. I love it. I'll read a couple of the cards. So like you'll notice that there are 2 cards in each set, and they're either going to be either a guard or an assassin, but they'll have the same card number. It could be a sentinel. They'll do things like choose a number, and an opponent tells you whether that number is within a range of plus or minus 2 of their suitcase number, or something like bulletproof vest, which lets you react. You can play immediately after an opponent successfully assassinates or blocks it. On your next turn, you can draw if you're able to, and you'll skip your action and peek. And there's little actions in the game, like triggers, like being able to look at the top card of the library or put a card in the bottom of your library. There's all these different things you can do in the game that change things up or vary based on what you play in the game. Choose a card from the top 3 cards of the discard pile and place it in your hand, and discard another card from your hand, switching up the card you want to attack with after your opponent plays a guard if they know what card is in your hand. Yeah, there's a lot in this game. There's a lot of cat and mouse. It feels good to play. It's a very unique deduction-based game for only 18 cards. It feels like a lot heavier and a lot more complex than what is just shown here. This is it. This is the game. It's 18 cards. You don't even need all this. You can just literally play, even without the sleeves. Each player gets one of these and a marker, and you have 18 cards plus your marker, and that's all you need for this game. But being able to add extra little things and the quality of life improvements for this is great. Quality of life improvements for the box is wonderful. The fact that it has additional little inserts to the box, fitting it in so you can make your own customizable decks and whatnot is great. Yeah, they did a great job with this game. This is a high recommendation for me. If you're looking for an 18 card game that plays very well, classified information, right on the money. My favorite one so far of the 18 card games I have played. Thank you for watching another Unfiltered Gamer board game review for the game Classified Information by IncrediQuest Games. If you're looking to pick up this title, there'll be a link down below in the description. It's available for purchase now. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button. It does greatly help us out. Look, I spent all the effort to make you a little sign that says subscribe. So if you do, thank you kindly. Each one does, I do appreciate it. It makes me feel like the videos are wanted. People want to continue watching my content. Sorry I couldn't give you any negatives for this one. This is one of those things where it's an 18 card game. And if you like 18 card games, you're gonna like this. If not, you probably won't. It might be too late for you, but I don't know. I really liked it. I found a hard time finding any negatives, so sue me. And of course, there's a live stream on Sundays at 6:30 p.m. PST. The best place to learn if you like or want to buy a game is to watch it played live, to watch the gameplay of it. It's the same thing you do with video games, right? You just don't simply just go out and buy it most of the times. You want to see how it's played and see if it's going to be right for you. And we did this one live. We played it with the two gals this last Sunday, so you can go ahead and check it out, see if it's a game you'd be interested in and enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I hope to give you no classified information and gain all of yours next time.